Hi, beautiful people. Welcome to Tender Thoughts Connect. Yes, Tender Thoughts Connect is the channel to be. Thank you all for subscribing, for sharing our videos, and for liking the videos. And we are so grateful for all the feedback that we have been receiving. And I bet that we are giving you just what you want. Once again, my name is Fumilayo Azoro Ekize. I love you. Remain inspired. So today's episode is going to be an exciting one. I'm already excited. It's a special one. I'm super excited. You know why? I won't be doing the talking all alone. I have here with me a superwoman. Yes. One who has been dealing with children for a very long time. And she's also good at what she's doing. My guest here hails from Kogi State here in Nigeria, and she has been a teacher since 2017, and I've had reasons to meet children who she has taught, and I can testify that she has done a great job in their lives. So today she'll be discussing with me on this channel on parent-teacher relationship, and her name is Miss Makolo Joy. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Ma.
So let's just start off. Miss Makolo Joy, what can you tell us about your teaching experience? What are your best memories so far?
In one word, my teaching experience, it's awesome. I'll use the word awesome.
Awesome. Are you glad to be a teacher?
Yes, I am. I'm super glad to be a teacher. Though I wasn't, I was skeptical at the beginning. I never wanted to be a teacher.
So you're one of those that came into the profession by accident.
By accident.
Can you share with us how it happened?
So while I was in secondary school, I didn't like the teaching profession.
Just like
because you know how secondary school students can be bullies sometimes, back then in government schools and all of that.
Oh, you went to a government school?
Yeah, I did. Part of my secondary education was, and I ended up in a private school later on. So I vowed I was never going to be a teacher because of what my classmates and I sometimes do to our teachers.
We're all guilty of that.
So during NYSC, I didn't serve in a school because I did everything possible not to be a teacher. In fact, it was not my calling. I taught.
You taught?
Yeah. So, but later in life, after NYSC, I was at home. I wasn't getting job. So I went into the profession because there was no job at the
teaching
time.
Profession at that time was the available job.
So
how long did you think you were going to stay?
I didn't think I was going to last 1 year.
1 year.
It was something, sincerely though, it was something I wanted to do while waiting for, the big job.
Bigger
and
job,
all that.
maybe
I
banking job.
No, not. I had my mindset on some things actually back then. So I wanted a very good job, but I wasn't getting it. So I settled for the teaching profession because I felt instead of staying at home now, why not just go out, make yourself useful, So I started teaching, but I didn't finish that term when I started liking the kids. It was the kids that built the passion for teaching for me at first. They were beautiful, they were lovely, and the feedback from children it's not all rosy, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you really want
to run away from them.
And then sometimes you just want to adore them because they do the most adorable things at times. And then sometimes they do the most dangerous things and you're like, I wish I can just spank you, But it was a rosy ride for me. I enjoyed it. I went on to pursue a career in education because my first degree had nothing to do with education. So I had to do my postgraduate diploma in education and gradually.
And now you're running your master's in education. For someone who didn't want to teach. Congratulations,
thank
dear.
you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, now, so like I said, we'll be dealing with parent-teachers relationship, because we know that there needs to be a synergy between the parent and the teacher for the child to have a healthy and a balanced educational success. Do you understand? So Ms. Joy will be sharing her experience with us and giving us some tips on how parents and teachers can collaborate in helping the child to become a successful individual in school and even after school to impact the global world. Once again, I would like you to please like the video, share the video, and make your comments. And if you're yet to subscribe, kindly subscribe. It is worth subscribing for. All right, Miss Joy. Now you've told us that the kids, or I prefer to use the word children. You've told us that the children were the driving force.
Exactly.
that made you to stay on the job. So now what about the parents? Did you ever at any time have a difficult parent?
Of course.
Okay, can you share your experience with us?
It's bound to happen in every profession, not just the teaching education. As long as you're rendering service, you're bound to mix up with different people, and you don't expect to get it all right with them all the time. So for parents, it's very dicey, because you can't judge a parent based on how they treat you. Yeah, every parent has the right to be emotional about their words and all of that. So yeah, it can be really challenging. I think it's one of the challenges every teacher face, especially in a private sector. Yeah. So I've in my course of teaching, I've met beautiful parents. All my parents are wonderful.
I love
actually.
that.
All my parents are wonderful. It's just that sometimes.
So what was the secret? Was it something you were doing?
Not really. I just think it's the
Because
grace
when I
of
come
God.
in contact with teachers, I do hear them complain about parents being difficult.
So I, for one, I don't dwell on negative thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not like I didn't have opportunities where I would have to complain about a parent. I had them, but I always go with this perspective that if you're doing a job and no one is complaining, that means you're not doing anything.
There
Do you
should be
understand?
criticism.
There should be criticism. So it propels you to want to do better. If you're doing something and no one is talking, that means you're a tyrant and nobody wants to get on your bad books.
Trying to avoid your
trying
trouble.
to avoid your trouble. So they would rather manage you for the time being. And every parent knows, it's just 3 term in a session. So let me just manage her so my child can leave her class.
Class.
But when a parent complains, it helps you to even work on yourself. It helps you to be a better teacher. It helps you to sometimes nobody is perfect. Yeah. So there are times where you make mistakes that are not deliberate. So if a parent does not call your attention to that, you may not know. And sometimes you may just be dishing the wrong lectures to the children, lessons to the children without knowing. Yeah, but a good parent sees your fault and then calls you to order. And as a good teacher, you have to have the skills of listening.
Listening, very important.
Do you understand? You have to have the skills of listening. So when you listen to criticism, it helps you to evaluate yourself. You want to know, what am I doing wrong? Why is this person complaining? As a teacher, you should be able to evaluate yourself once in a while. Okay, what am I not getting wrong? Why is this particular parent, or if you have more than one parent complaining about you, you should be able to sit back. 2 people cannot be saying the wrong things.
Exactly.
Yeah. You should be able to sit back and ask yourself, okay, where am I faulting? What should I do to get it wrong? Some parents can be dramatic. Don't get
Very
me wrong.
dramatic.
Yeah. And then they just want to pour their frustrations and everything. Sometimes it comes from a place of having to have spent so much on their word, and they are not getting
the results, the desired results.
The desired results.
And also because they see teachers as the wretched of the earth.
God bless you, ma'am. So, but we are not wretched.
We are not at all. Not at all.
So that's just it. So you need to really understand the perspective the parents is driving at, or where the parents is coming from. If you've done your all and this parent is still complaining, I think that's where the management of the school steps in. Okay, so I think for some parents, they won't even come to you directly. They go to report you to the authority, which is not cool, because I feel like a parent should have a relationship with their words teachers.
Very important.
It's
and
very
that's what
important,
we're talking about today.
because that is how you monitor the growth of you. Have a successful child if the teacher is not
making impact. Okay, teacher is not happy. Okay, that brings me to one question. You mentioned that you had beautiful parents. What makes them beautiful? Is it their appearance?
No.
Please, can you just explain?
Okay, so when I say beautiful, I mean their hearts.
Okay.
I think one time in, I think a few years into my teaching profession, I encountered a parent, and we are still very close till date. It's funny. The daughter just recently wrote a junior WAEC, and I taught her when she was in grade 3. So she actually came to invite me to come for the party because she wanted me to feature in her photographs, And what I noticed from that woman was she had time for her kids. Do you understand? She would always pick up from where the teacher stops.
And that is how it should be.
That is how it should be. She would always, she goes through their notebooks, she goes through their assignments. In fact, she's involved in their homeworks at home. So there's no day they come to school without their homework done. Sometimes you see pupils coming to school without doing their homework. I don't blame them sometimes. I blame the parents, because the child will simply tell you, I don't have pencil at home. And in my mind, I'm like, what was your mom doing? I get that parents can be busy too and all that, but it's something that you have to be deliberate about. If you want the success of your child, you have to work hand in hand with the teacher. That gives the child an enabling learning environment, a positive learning environment. Education is an end-to-end inscription. Like, I'm teaching you, I'm getting your feedback.
Yes.
I also want to get feedback from your parents.
Yes.
What are your lows and your highs? I want to know the areas. I may not know this in class because I'm not attending to just one child. I'm teaching more than 10 kids at once. So I may not really be able to know when you're dropping on some certain subject, or when you're having other issues that are affecting your academics. But as a parent, you should know when, my child was able to do this last term, but this term he or she is not doing it again. So the best thing to do is to call the attention of the teacher communicate with the teacher. There's no good education without communication. Do you understand? Communication is a very vital skill a parent and a teacher should have when it comes to schooling a child.
And it has to be a regular thing.
It has to be a regular thing. You don't stop.
And that's why we have communication books.
Yes, we do. I was coming to that.
Okay. So let's just talk about it now. So, because I realize that sometimes some parents don't even, go through the communication book. They don't read through it. They just acknowledge it by appending their signature.
It's as bad as some parents not knowing the class their children are in.
Wow.
It's as bad as some parents not knowing the teacher of their kids. Do you understand?
What's the parent thinking that you don't know the class?
You don't just say because you have paid school fees, you've left everything for the teacher. The first teacher of a child should be the parents. The teacher is only picking up from when you're dropping that child in school. And after you pick that child, you take over from there. So you should be intentional about raising kids. It's not, money doesn't just cut it.
I'm so glad I have you on board today, Miss.
Thank you, ma.
Because that is what I've always been saying. Parenthood is an intentional thing. It's a choice you make and a choice you have to go by.
Exactly.
It's not something, even if you become pregnant or you have a child by accident, once that happens, you become a custodian of that child. That is just it. And everything that has to do with the child becomes your responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay, now so talk to us about the communication book before we talk about something else. As in,
I'm going to share an experience.
Okay, go ahead, please.
So it wasn't my class, but something happened one time, and the teacher wrote a comment on the communication book, and then this is a student, not a pupil, went home and responded to the teacher himself.
The pupil.
Those students. This is a student, not a pupil.
Okay. High school.
High school. And the teacher read it, and because that was not the response she hoped to, she immediately took it to the authority, and they did a follow-up. The parents did not even know there was a communication book in the child's bag. So cases like this has helped us to know that some parents are not deliberate about their kids at all. But as a parent, you should always check your words back when you come back from school, because that's how you know whether they are picking up habits that you don't want them to grow up with. That's how you know if they started picking things that doesn't belong to them.
You'll be able to handle it immediately.
And you'll be able to handle it immediately, not when it has grown in with them and it has become a part of them and a lifestyle. That time is always really difficult to correct. But if you're always watching them step by step, every day you monitor I feel like if for you to be deliberate, if it has to do with you snooping around your children, you should do that.
Yes,
I don't get these days I hear Gen Z parents saying don't snoop up on your kids, give them their privacy.
I give them
you
their
don't have
space.
any privacy.
Yes, I allow them to have their privacy, but at the same time I do the snooping.
Do you understand? That's the best way to raise godly and productive kids in the society. Do you understand? So for communication book, it's a vital key. It's a vital tool between the teachers and the parents.
Okay.
And then there's another way I feel like parents should be involved with teachers and their kids is ask the teacher how they want to be communicated to.
Good. Now that we're using,
do you understand? Some teachers prefer text messages. Some teachers prefer email. Some teachers don't mind calls.
Okay, so now on whose part is it? What the parents want or what the teacher wants?
It should be what the teacher wants.
Because the workload is
on the teacher.
So
it should be what the teacher wants. The one that is most convenient. You don't call someone that is busy trying to meet up with deadlines, lesson plan and all of that. And if she doesn't pick your call, it becomes a problem. I'm saying this because it's personal to me. It happened. A parent called me one time. I was down. I think I went to the school and sick bay in the school. I dropped my phone in the class because I just needed to rest my head. And when I wasn't picking her call, she got angry. But that wasn't deliberate. It wasn't deliberate. So if she had communicated with me from the onset, Miss Joy, how do you want me to reach out to you? Should I send you a text? Should I call you?
Well, that should be working hours. She should know that you'll be.
It was a working hour. Do you understand? And after that day, I wasn't cool with what she did because she just went ahead and reported me to the authorities, and I didn't know why she did that, but I wasn't pleased with it. Later, we got to talk over it, and I explained and we reconciled. But what if we were not able to reconcile? I'm human. It's going to have a psychological effect on me, what she had done to me. If the management had gone ahead to query me or maybe deducted a certain percentage from my salary, I'm sincerely telling you, I don't think I'll be cool with a child in my class.
Okay, there will now be a transfer.
It's just natural. You don't plan to do it sometimes, but like I said earlier, kids can actually get on your nerves, and when you know you're not happy with a certain parent and the child comes you react differently. It's just natural. It's not because you want to do it. It's not the best. I know.
I was going to say
but
that
this
it's
is
not the best.
it's not the best.
We
But
have
this is
to try
our
as teachers,
human.
yes.
This is our
Teachers-
human nature.
Okay, parents should understand that teachers are also
We are also humans. We are not
Yes,
superheroes.
they're not superheroes. They are
And
also
then sometimes a parent just wants you to perform magic on a child. Do you understand? So these things
Forget that
take
there's something
time
called
and
patience
process.
when you're dealing
It
with
takes
children.
time. It takes processes and all of that. So the reason I brought that, I didn't deal with that child. I didn't do anything bad to the child, but I was emotional about what the mom had done to me. I wasn't happy about it, but I was able to manage it because of I have some level of emotional management. It's with me. Yeah. So, but someone else might not be able to, handle that because of pressure and all of that, and so on.
So how do we kind of discipline parents when they
discipline parents? Yes. Do you discipline your customers?
Yes, I know parents are customers.
It's not really discipline them per se.
How do you manage them? Okay, now when that incident occurred, the school management, what did they do to the parent? Did they take out time to explain to her?
I wouldn't know if they did that behind my back.
Okay.
Because what I know is I was called to the office in her presence and I was asked what had transpired.
Okay.
Well, that's good. I was surprised because I didn't even know she had called me. Like I said, my phone was in the classroom, so I was called from the sick bay to explain what had happened, and I was looking stoned because I didn't know what was going on. Yeah, so it was when she said she had been calling me. I was like, oh, I left my phone in the class, and I was.
But was it a case of emergency?
No, it wasn't. She wanted to. I think she wanted to ask me something. She came to pick her kids. It was a closing. They are just closed, so I was like, okay, let me take this time to go to the sick bay.
So we can see that we need to have a good
for that
relationship with
particular
our parents.
Our daughter had told her downstairs that Miss Joy was not in the class. She told her that Miss Joy is in the sick bay. So I felt she would have, okay, let me go home and call her back. But like I also said, I don't know from where she was coming from. We ended up talking and I saw that it was not entirely her fault. She also needed to communicate with me urgently, and she wanted to share some thoughts with me, and I wasn't picking her call, so she felt it was a deliberate act, which I don't know why I wouldn't pick her call. Yeah, so we spoke. I explained my part of the scenario to her. She explained that, and it was just a miscommunication from the both of us.
Yeah, that's why we said
so I
feel
like
communication is very important.
So I feel like the only way to discipline a parent is give them listening ear.
To discipline them when they
give them listening ears.
Okay, let's say you listen to the parent and you find out that the parent is wrong.
Then you take it up with the management.
Very important.
Then you take it up with the management because it's actually not in your place as a
good.
teacher.
I was going to mention that it's not in your place to even whatever it is.
To even say anything to
them.
Even
say anything to a parent. Always direct the matter to the school management.
So the only communication between a teacher and a parent should be as regards the child. So if he's getting out of hands, you involve a third party, and who better than the school management? They would know how to address the situation better. So I don't know if they discipline parents in schools, but I've never had.
But you just answer that. Do you discipline your customers?
Do you get?
Okay, so let's just talk about the next question I have is how can teachers effectively involve parents in the disciplinary process for school children? How do we get them involved? Because some parents will tell you, no, you don't do this to my child, you don't do that to my child, and I think teachers are in the best position to know the kind of discipline that a particular child deserves. So how do we get parents involved?
Okay, so because of the educational rules and regulation now, policies and all of that, you do not have the right as a teacher to melt harsh discipline on a child. That is one. So it's the bedrock of this is still communication.
But most teachers still do not understand this policy.
Well, I don't know. I can't speak
because
for
we
them,
We keep hearing in the news a child was flogged to
and
death,
which is
a
wrong.
child lost an eye because a teacher flogged.
Which is
The
wrong.
last time was a proprietor of a school and her son beating up a child to the extent that the child lost his life.
Wow.
So I think the government has to do more on this.
Yes, creating awareness and all
school
of that. And school should also
school owners
enforce these things. Yeah. So if you speak to the parents, ask them how they discipline their children at home. Ask them about the emotional level of the child. Do you understand? Every parent knows how to instill morals in their child. If I, for one, I know how I would want to discipline my child when they are wrong, and I also know how I would not want someone to discipline my child, and I also know how I would want someone to discipline my child.
So it all boils down to communication. Very important.
It's very important.
Very important.
If a child is getting naughty, the best thing to do is carry the parents along. Ma'am, this is what your child did in school today. Send it to her. If she doesn't respond, this is a follow-up on the message I sent to you. This same character has repeated itself. How do you discipline this child at home? If possible, invite the parents to school. Have a sit and talk.
That is not at the level of the school management.
No, even as a teacher.
You know some schools don't allow teachers to deal with parents directly.
But if you are in a situation where you can have access to your parents, invite that parent to school in the presence of the child. Have a meeting with the parents. This is what your child has been doing, and we've done everything possible. These are the things we have done so far. This child is not relenting, and what should we do going forward? It's very important the parent knows everything about the child.
Very important.
It's very important you carry them along. Even for you as a teacher, it saves you a lot. So that when something happens tomorrow, it will be on record that you had been complaining about this particular thing, and it should be documented. Exactly, it should be documented. For some parents, they use harsh disciplinary measures on their kids.
Yes, I've met some parents who would come to the school and say,
please flog my child.
Please flog my child. Even when you say,
I've met such parents.
Say, please flog my child.
A parent told me, this one is my child. I gave birth to him. If he does anything in the presence of the child, flog him very well. That is how I discipline my children at home. I have told your teacher to flog you. So whenever you do something wrong, she will flog you. In fact, I've had cases where a parent will call me, Miss Joy, this is what your son has done. Please, as he's coming to school, I want you to flog him.
Reporting the child
to me.
Why couldn't she flog him back at home?
I don't know why
and
parents do that. They don't make you look like the devil.
Because most times children have more
fear for their teachers. Yeah.
Is it fear or respect? Or sometimes they don't want to disappoint their teachers.
Yes. So I get that too. Yes, so sometimes they call me, your son has not eaten. No. I notice when he comes to school, he finishes his food. So I'm adding extra food for him. Please, can you help me after school? Let him eat before I come to pick him. Do you understand? So we get that a lot, but that wouldn't have been possible if I was a terrible teacher to that child.
They've been able to, have confidence.
In fact, recently, a girl that is in, she just finished JS3. She was sick and she wasn't eating. The mom brought me and said, your daughter is not eating. No. This was someone I taught when she was in grade 2. Your daughter is not eating, and she needs to take her.
You're done teaching these children. The parents still keep.
I think that's the most beautiful moment of being a teacher.
Yes.
Because these children, they start to teach you what you have taught them that you probably cannot even remember. So today, as I was getting ready to come, I was with TK and she said something that happened in 2017. And I told her, did I say that?
And that's she was once your pupil.
She wasn't even my pupil. She was in my school. She was supposed to be in my class, but she was telling me, I didn't even know, that I was supposed to be in your class, but somehow you took me to another class. I'm like, really? That happened? She was like, yes. And then she said, I saw you when you were doing makeup for the first time I saw you. You were doing makeup. It was inter-house sports. You were doing makeup for the Queen of Greenhouse, and I was in Greenhouse, and I was trying to imagine how she would be looking by then. I didn't know. I was like, really? She was like, you told me to do something, and I said I wasn't going to do it, and you asked me why, and I told you that I don't feel like doing it, but you made me do it. I'm like, oh, I can't remember. So it was priceless for me, because imagine if I had lured her into doing something
negative,
wrong,
yes.
something negative.
The same way she would.
So the teacher is like the first hero of a child.
That's right.
After their parents. I've also had cases where this one is quite a parent called the school management that the assignment I gave the child was wrong, and he was teaching the child. The child was saying, no, that is not what my teacher said.
Very
and
common.
It was when they called me, I was like, really, because I was so sure. I said, okay. I went to the parent's house, and when I saw him, I said, sir, I heard you complained, and he was like, yes. I was like, okay, can I see the assignment? So they brought it out, and I just smiled, because the child was right and the father was wrong.
Because maybe different
the father was wrong in the sense that the method he was using to teach the girl was not what I had used. So I explained to him. So he was like, oh, you school of nowadays now, you have changed everything, So I was able to solve that situation that they. So really, parents have a role to play, just as teachers also have a role to play in molding the child. There must be a synergy between both parties. Of them. Yeah.
So, my dear viewers, so far we've been talking about teacher-parent relationship. And from what Ms. Joy has shared with us, we've been able to draw out some salient points on today's episode. We'll be able to understand that for a healthy relationship to exist between a parent and a teacher, as with regards to the child's learning performance, there must be an effective communication. And it must be a regular one. The parent has to update the teacher regularly on the child's performance, the child's development back at home, knowing that the child spends like 8 hours in school with the teacher and goes back home to stay with the parent. And we also learned that the parents have the responsibility of supporting the learning process at home. So like in the words of Ms. Joy, where the teacher stops, the parents ought to pick it up from there and then give the teacher feedback. I think she has one more thing to say before I continue.
Yeah, I was also going to say something. I remembered I was in a place and I overheard a parent, because I'm a teacher now, I would always, I overheard a parent complaining about our ward teachers, and our kids were there. And the next thing she said is, that stupid teacher. And in my mind, I'm like, whoa. So what message are you passing on to the children? They now know that, their teacher is a stupid woman. Teacher. How would they learn when they have this knowledge of the teacher? So when the teacher is teaching in class, the only thing running through their mind is
stupidity.
My teacher is stupid. She
and
cannot
it came from the mom.
Do you understand? My mommy said my teacher is stupid. My mommy said my teacher is nasty. My mommy said my teacher does not know anything. These are things that we feel they are common, but they are not common. Proper. They are not proper. That's not the right words to use around a child. What message are you driving to this child? Now you have damaged the child mindset about this teacher. And a child that does not like the teacher cannot never sit to learn. A child that have a negative thought about a teacher will not be ready to listen to whatever the teacher says. That's and before you know, the child starts getting unruly in class. class. When the teacher is teaching, the child is trying to distract himself or herself or the teacher or even the class, just because the child wants to take his or her mind off what the teacher is saying because of the knowledge he already has about that teacher. So it's very deliberate, it's very intentional for you to want to secure an enabling learning environment around your children,
and be mindful of what you say about your children's teacher,
and
in
it's
their
a two-way
presence.
thing. Even
Yes,
the teacher
teachers
should be very careful with the use of languages around the children. I've heard stories of teachers saying naughty things around children
in their presence.
It's not right, because I've also heard stories of students that came back to acknowledge their teacher just because of using the right words on them.
As teachers, teachers are supposed to build children,
exactly,
not to destroy them. You're supposed to build their lives for them.
And it's funny how the words you use goes a long way in the mind of a minor. Like, these children grow with that. If it takes the grace of God for them to now develop confidence in themselves, because you've messed them up in the classroom.
You demoralize them in the classroom.
Maybe a child is not getting something straight, and the next thing you do is, you this silly boy, you this
you don't know anything.
You don't know anything.
You will not amount to anything.
You will not amount to.
I don't know what you're doing in this class.
As painful as it is, some parents also say those words to their children, and they feel like it's nothing. It's something.
It matters a lot.
It matters a lot, because the child will now keep hearing that word, keep absorbing it, and
before you know, it start becoming
it.
Yes.
Before you know it, after all, they say I don't know anything. So what's the point?
What's the point listening to them?
What's the point listening
lesson?
To the teacher?
What's the point doing the assignment?
Do you understand?
Oh, thank you, Miss Joy. It's been a wonderful time here with you, and I believe my viewers or our viewers will attest that they've actually gained a lot from today's episode. Do you understand? Do you realize that we even got beyond teacher and parent relationship? Yes, because if you're a teacher out there, I'm sure you have learned so much. Know that you are the next hero, if not the first hero of the learners under your custody.
Yeah.
Sometimes the learners even appreciate and celebrate you as a teacher more than they celebrate their parents. Exactly. So please live the life that's expected of you as a teacher, and that is a builder, molder of destinies. Do not allow other things to take that away from you. And no matter how difficult a parent may be, please know that the child life matters to you. So do not transfer your aggression to the pupil or to the learner. Make sure that you bring out the best in the life of that learner that will make that parent come before you to appreciate you. All right. Thank you so much, dear viewers. We have come to the end of this episode.
Thank you.
And I know that it has really been worth it. So we look forward to having you next time in our next episode. God bless you. And I remain Fumilayo Azoro Ekezie. Be inspired. A word from Miss Joy.
Thank you so much. So for teachers out there, I want you to know that you're the God the child sees in the classroom. You're responsible for the future of that child. A well-trained child is a plus to the society. A well-trained child is a plus to the society, and every child needs to grow with a positive mindset. Every child needs to be in a positive environment. If a child is not happy, there's no way learning can take place. Thank you so much. And for parents, please take it easy on the teachers. They are not superheroes too.
They are humans
They are humans like you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Miss Joy. Thank you so much. Oh, I've had an amazing time. All right. So we've come to the end of the part 1 of this topic and looking forward to the part 2. Thank you. Be inspired.